Megaherzzz. You're listening to Megaherzzz on 4ZZZ.
You're listening to Megaherzzz, 4ZZZ's feminist and social justice show. You are joined by Charlotte, my pronouns are she, they.
Sisi, my pronouns are she, her.
And I'm Sarah, and my pronouns are they, them.
I'm just going to start off with an acknowledgement of country. So I would love to acknowledge the Jagera and Turrbal peoples as the sovereign owners of the unceded land on which we live and broadcast. We pay our respect to elders past, present and future, and the Jagera, Turrbal, Yugara, Yurugurpal and Quandamooka nations, and we stand in solidarity with all First Nations people in the fight for justice.
We are not on next week, but it is for a wonderful reason, because it's actually quite an honour that during our show bracket is next week at 12 p.m. is the exact 50th birthday. So when it hits 12, I think they're going to be doing something very special this time next week. So
keep listening.
Yeah,
but just not to us, because we won't be here. We'll actually be out there with you listening.
Yay!
Listening to, the celebrations for what is happening for 50 amazing years of community radio. And, 4ZZZ has been, or 4ZZZ back then, has been extremely influential in the whole community radio as it is known in Australia today. So amazing things, an amazing achievement, and how amazing it is still going as well, 50 years strong. So have a listen.
And also, I think it would be awesome, and I encourage you all to go down and see those talks happening at the Edge. I feel like that 50 years, I think also there'll be a lot of wonderful women in radio that will have a lot to say, because I think that 4ZZZ has always championed diverse voices. So, I'm really interested to see what those panels have to say, and lots of workshops. So head down, check it out. I reckon it'll be awesome.
Yeah, I'm going down on Wednesday night, so I can report back on the broadcast and hear all about democratic radio.
Woo! And also today is Charlotte's first time on the panel.
Whoop, whoop.
And they're killing it. So
so for people listening at home, we are all volunteers here on Megaherzzz and throughout the station. And unlike radio that you see on TV and a news broadcast and commercial radio, where they have a producer and somebody sitting behind the panel doing all the tech wizardry, all our announcers do that ourselves here on 4ZZZ. So we take turns each week. We through our show at Megaherzzz, we all have a go at the panel. So we get to do a bit of announcing. We get to pick our own music, and we also get to do the button shifting and make all the
levels
magic happen.
and the things and the dials. It's very exciting and very very technical. But
so if you are a subscriber, you can also be a volunteer, and you too can do announcer training and panel training and be part of the volunteer base that keeps this station going.
Whoop whoop.
We're going to hear a little bit from Sarah about Loud.
About Ouroboros, and also about Loud Women. And that song, There Goes the Neighbourhood, was a Megaherzzz favourite this year and late last year. So it is one that I personally have voted for in the Hot 100.
Me too.
And which you can hear on the 7th of December. You'll be able to... No, maybe not.
Yeah,
no, be able to hear the Hot 100. Yeah. We're doing that. But if you are not going to be listening to the Hot 100 on the 7th of December, you might want to go down to Gadigal in Sydney, where you can hear Ouroboros live, because they are playing at the Loud Women Fest. It's apparently the 10-year anniversary of the Loud Women Fest, and they're going to be playing there. And something I liked about the Loud Women Fest is not only is it a complete lineup of loud women, which, what's not to love about that, they also have a free community pool of tickets for people that may not otherwise be able to afford to go to Loud Women Fest. So fantastic.
Loud Women is a publishing all kinds of things. It's just like an organization that I've been following for like quite some time, and they're really awesome, and they have put on events in New York. They're based in London, I think. They put things on in Bristol. They put things on. This is the first Australian show they've done, and it's just like a very cool, staunch, amazing outlet for women and non-binary folk all around the world. And so this is a massive and really exciting thing, and amazing that we have some representation from Megaherzzz, and of course, who better to represent our loud women than Ouroboros.
I did not actually know that they were from London. I knew that they'd been around for 10 years, but I just assumed, there you go, never assume anything, but I assumed that they had been in Sydney for the past 10 years. So, okay. Yeah. First chance, and hopefully not last chance to see loud women in Australia.
Yeah, I'm sure it won't be, because what a lineup they've put together. So
there you go. If I can suggest something for you to do next weekend, maybe go on a road trip, and then you can listen to the Hot 100 in your car radio.
Genius.
On your way down, and finish off your night with the Loud Women Fest in Gadigal.
Put it on the agenda.
Yeah, the agenda is a construct.
Yeah, it's good. That's a good one.
Anyway.
For our 50th celebrations this week, tune in 10 to 12 Thursday morning. There'll be a culmination of interviews from over the years, so you can answer the question, who runs this place? Head along to the State Library for Stranded at the Edge. From the 3rd to the 6th of December, the State Library comes alive with talks, workshops and experiences celebrating 4ZZZ's legacy. Then tune in from midday this Sunday and listen to the 2025 Hot 100, and back it up the next day with our extra special 50th birthday broadcast live from Vent Space on our actual birthday, the 8th of December. To see the full 50th program and listen back, head to 4zzz.org.au.
This is Megaherzzz. So we're going to start talking about 16 days of activism. So we are currently in the midst of this 16 days, which is basically an international campaign for the prevention and elimination of violence against women and girls. It runs from the 25th of November to the 10th of December. And every year there is a new theme. This year the theme is Unite to End Digital Violence Against All Women and Girls. And it's all about raising awareness and combating technology-facilitated abuse. So, this might include issues like online harassment, intimate image sharing, AI, cyberstalking, all that kind of stuff. So Sisi's going to share a little bit about some key dates involved with 16 days of activism.
So we didn't talk about it last week, I don't believe, but last Tuesday was the 25th of November was the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. There was some things that happened in Parliament. The wonderful Larissa Waters read the name of content warning before we go into the rest of this show, into the rest of this segment. It contains very intense content about domestic violence, about violence against women. So please, if you need to practice self-care, please tune out for the next 5 or so minutes. But yeah, Larissa Waters read the name in Parliament of 74 women who have been killed this year in Australia since 1 year, 365 days. And some talk in Parliament, but, talk on one day does not account for a year of inaction and not giving a fuck, but not caring unless it's an upper class white victim, and even then just saying words of condolences, never actually any action
And this is really, really tough because I don't want to, come down harder on the women who are actually speaking about, like Larissa Waters, who has actually taken the time to speak about this.
Not Larissa Waters. She's great.
Parliament, and to talk about this, and I would rather people talking about it for one day a year than no days a year. And I feel like we do have a bit of a tendency in our culture to hold women who don't talk about it enough to a higher standard than we're talking about, the men who are actually committing the violence themselves. So, absolutely, yeah. But at the same time, it is tough because, we did have Larissa Waters who read out the names of those people who were murdered or allegedly murdered throughout the year, and who Larissa Waters actually does that every year and has made a commitment to do that every year until she doesn't have to, much like our commitment on this show as well. We then had a response from the opposition leader, Susan Ley, who, again, I don't want to come down too hard on her for speaking about this, because I'm glad that she's speaking about it, but at the same time, it really, I found the speech in which she was telling women to maintain the rage actually gave me a whole lot of rage in that, and rage, and not about. And I'm like, I don't know that maintaining the rage is the solution to the violence. I think we need to maintain the funding. We need to maintain the vigilance. We need to maintain the care, and we need to maintain the accountability for the people that are committing this violence, and that is the majority of these people. Not all of them, and again, not saying all of them, but the majority of these people are men. And we need to be talking less about violence against women because it's not happening by magic pixies. We need to be talking about men's violence and how are we as a society going to stop and reduce men's violence. And that is what we need to be talking about, not maintaining some invisible rage. So
it also feels a bit, I don't know, empty coming from the politicians who it's like, well, you guys are the ones that probably should be doing a little bit more. It seems a bit, like they're reversing kind of the burden onto the people and being like, well, you go fix it. And it's like, well, you kind of have the opportunity to be making change. So why don't you maybe turn around on yourselves and, contribute something or commit to, anything really.
Yeah. So, and in, in contrast to the rage that we're having here in Australia, there have been some interesting things happening around the world, and particularly on this day. They have passed a bill in Italy. So in Italy, they have passed a bill with femicide laws. So that is femicide, they've defined that as the intentional killing of women or girls. And they have also attached to that a sentence of life in prison that goes with that. So, that is actually something really concrete that they have, they have done. And that was actually, the Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni in Italy, is actually apparently a far right politician, and yet still managed to do that and cared enough to do that. So, and she has said that this is a tool to defend the freedom and dignity of every woman. So, they've also doubled funding for anti-violence programs and shelters in Italy. And something I find interesting about that is that the numbers of women who are experiencing violence and femicide in Italy is actually quite similar to what we're seeing in Australia. So, there is what I think is an appropriate response, and it's well within our power to have something like that.
But isn't it bizarre that we go, oh, she's far right, so it's kind of surprising that she cares about women getting killed?
Yeah, that actually
it kind of proves it's not just like a political, leftist thing. It's like a very concrete thing that everyone should care about regardless of.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable. Carrying on with 16 days of activism. I keep going to say advocacy. But 3rd of December is the International Day of People with Disabilities, so that's on Wednesday. We will attach some resources in the show link to of things that you can go and do, and how to read up more on what the 16 Days of Activism means and how you can be involved. So the 16 days started on the 25th and runs through to the 10th of December, which is next Wednesday. And on that last day is the International Human Rights Day. And I think that it's a really important thing, as it is every year, but there is so much going on in the world right now, and so much going on for women of the world right now. I think that's we should be thinking about women every day, but that is definitely a day to engage and, look out at what's happening in the world. One more thing that I would like to discuss is the government funding. So we were talking a bit about inaction before, but one thing that the Albanese Labor government has done, and on that day, 25th of November 2025, which is, the start of 16 Days of Activism, they invested an additional $41.8 million into 1-800-RESPECT to make sure everyone who seeks help can get it. That brings the funding to $146.8 million until 30th of June 2027. So 1-800-RESPECT has seen since 2010, when it started, a 3,000% increase in people seeking help and reaching out to that service. So, that is the hotline that we encourage, and that is good news. We need that service, and it's incredibly important. And if any of this has caused anything in you that you need to reach out for some help, please do call 1-800-737-732. That's 1-800-737-732. A service that will hopefully be around for a very long time.
And I'm putting you on the spot here, Sisi, so you may not know, but you might be able to type really quickly. Does that funding include funding for the men's line?
I presume so. So 1-800 Respect.
They are owned by DV Connect, but they are actually a different organisation under DV Connect. So the men's line is part of DV Connect.
So we might have to do a little bit more searching on that to see, but I am hoping that is being funded because, like I said at the start of this discussion, yes, we want to, we want to protect and support women, and we want to help them if they are being, abused, but we also want to stop it before it happens. And to do that, we need to put money into prevention, and we've got to put money into, the men's helpline as well, and programs like She's Not Your Rehab as well, a fantastic program that is, all about preventing violence before it happens. And that's what we need to do. So we'll find out where that money's going, and we will let you know.
Paradigm Shifts podcast is available online and via your favourite podcasting app, challenging the assumptions of our current society to investigate alternative ways of living for a world based on justice, solidarity and sustainability. Tune in to the Paradigm Shift podcast. Just search The Paradigm Shift for ZZZ.
We're back from break. Sarah, you've got some more information for that funding that you were just telling us about.
Yes, we did say that we would look at where that was going and let you know, and we did have a bit of a look at it. So that specific funding is going to 1-800-RESPECT, which is its own program, so not necessarily to those other ones. However, there was a report put out by the government talking about the investment that the Albanese government has made, and the claim is that they have made more than any Australian government ever, which is more than $4 billion in frontline services, prevention initiatives, behaviour change and programs for children across the government. I would like to take some more time to have a look into exactly, where that money's gone, what that claim is. But one of the highlights some of the highlights is that they've made the Leaving Violence program permanent, which is fantastic news. And there was another one in here that they have invested $82 million to detect, monitor and intervene with repeat offenders. So just looking at that on the surface, that does sound like a great initiative and a great, something that is really worth doing. We hear that, here on Megaherzzz, we hear time and time again that people who have committed femicide or have been alleged to commit femicide have a repeated pattern of behaviour that just has been ignored and has not been looked at for various reasons. So some money into that, I think, is welcome news. So we will have a look at what that means and where that's going and exactly what that is all about. Won't be telling you about it next week because it is the 50th birthday celebration, so no Megaherzzz next week, but we'll be back the week after to have a chat about that.
Isn't that what feminism is about?